Hey everybody, it's Holly from the Urban Homesteader, and if you can't see my breath, I can tell you that it is definitely a cold morning out here in the backyard. And today is the day that we have kind of been dreading, but we also know it's something that we need to address. We have to winterize the chickens. So today we're going to be putting on those corrugated panels on the walls so that they can be a windbreak for the chickens. That's one of the tasks today. Another one is to work on bringing in some extension cording for the heated water bases, something that is very important throughout the winter here in Minnesota. If you don't have heat for your water, it's a problem. I don't have the ability to keep on checking the water every 5 minutes. It can freeze that fast around here, so we make sure that we have a heated base for that. And then also I'll be putting in some heat lamps, and I'll talk about that a little bit later and my theory on that whole system. So in the meantime, we're going to just start getting those panels on the wall. We have them out of the shed, which also needs to be reorganized. Another one of the things to do today. We found the hardware, so that was good, and we're just going to tackle it. I'm lucky enough to have labeled the panels. I remember doing that last year, and sure enough, the labels are still there. Little Sharpie marker marks, so that's good. That'll help us, and I'm hoping that it's going to go smooth. Why don't you guys come along and watch? Well, just like that, we're 3 hours later about, and both of the chicken runs are wrapped and ready for winter. Went pretty easy, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. My little numbering system, pretty slick. Very glad I did that. We had to do a little bit of tweaking to two of the panels because we had, over the summer, we had added in two little chicken doors into the play yard area, so we had to cut around for those. That took 5 minutes. That was it. So honestly, this was a pretty slick deal. The chickens, of course, were very curious and not very helpful, but always fun to have them around, so I'm not complaining, but man, they are nosy. Holy man, they are nosy. So here's the deal. So I know I had talked to you about adding in some extension cording for my drinkers and my heat lamps. However, I am running out of time. I've got some things to do this afternoon, and there's just never enough time in the day. So we're going to come back out here tomorrow, and we're going to talk about it then. Day 2 of Operation Winterization has pretty much come to an end. I have everything hooked up thanks to Pat's help, of course. He helped run the extension cords, and I'll show you guys a little bit of what that looks like. I'm lucky enough to have power to these coops, which is such a huge benefit. If you don't, it is okay to run extension cords to whatever outlet source you have as well. Just keep an eye on that. When winter comes, things get wet. Just be careful of that and be mindful of it. One thing I'd like to mention about the heated bases, which you need these in Minnesota. It is just imperative that you have them. Otherwise, you have to keep checking the water, and that's just not realistic. It isn't in my world, so I am grateful that these things exist. Things that I wanted to mention, though, like, they're thick. They're about 3-4 inches high. Keep that in mind. Now, I do like to raise my drinkers up above the ground simply because when the chickens are scratching, they always seem to scratch in and throw in the debris of whatever you have in your chicken run into the water. And this raising that up just makes it a little bit easier to keep the water a little bit cleaner for longer. So keep that in mind. And also, this is very important, and this is a lesson learned, keep an extra base on hand. When these things go out, it is likely going to be in the dead of winter. And when it's 30 below, you are not going to want to go out shopping to get a new base. Have one on hand. You will be grateful that you do. I had that happen to me last year, and it was a nightmare because I wasn't able to get out. Timing of it was terrible. And then you have to make sure that these chickens have water. And without that heated base, it was challenging. So I have one on hand. Always will have one on hand for as long as I have chickens. And that's about it. Just important that they have the base for them to get through the winter so that they have water access, and that's about it. But they're happy. They seem to be enjoying all of the activity that's been going out here in the chicken runs, and they have certainly been nosing around, and it's always just been kind of fun to have them around. Let's go inside and talk to you about the heat lamps. All right, everybody, it is now time to talk about heat lamps. So this topic can be kind of seems to be touchy for some and maybe even a little bit confusing, especially to those who are new to chicken keeping and haven't gone through a winter yet. I just wanted to share what I do. And I also want you to know that I feel like everybody should keep their chickens in a way that works the best for them. Here's my 2 cents on it. Now, Minnesota can be brutally cold at times, and we're talking like 30 to 40 degrees below zero. If I have the ability to give them a little bit of reprieve in those winter, cold, harsh winter temperatures, I'm going to do so with the heat lamp. Now, some of you might have said, oh gosh, yeah, but you're going to be shocking their system. I can guarantee you this one bulb in this coop is not going to raise the temperature in here, especially when it's 30 and 40 degrees below outside. It's not going to raise the temperature in here that much in order to shock them and then kill them. It is just not going to happen. When I come out here in the morning, the first thing I do is shut this thing off, because when they wake up, they're going straight outside. I don't need the heat lamp on at that time. And so it's just unnecessary. But I will do it in the evening when it is brutally cold, just because I am empathetic towards them and I just want to get them through the evening. I feel like even a chicken who's wrapped in down feathers needs a little bit of a break, especially during the evening time when they're trying to sleep. So let's talk a little bit now about the actual heat lamp. So this is just a simple globe lamp. And what I really wanted to share with you is how you should hook this up and what you should possibly be thinking about. So I like to keep my cords away from all the chickens. There's no way that they could get up here and get tangled up in it, and that is ultimately the goal. We don't want it knocked down. I've got it hooked up here with an actual hook, and things work really great here. It's not touching anything. Nothing can start on fire. Of course, that is one of the fears that many people have about a heat lamp. This is the way I've done it for years. I've never had any issues, and I'm probably just going to keep doing it that way. Another thing to think about is what color bulb you want to be using. So I prefer to use the red one, and there's a theory there. So in the wintertime, when we lose a lot of our daylight hours, egg production will decrease and drop dramatically. It's kind of a way for nature to say to the chickens, hey, this is your break time. And the chicken only has so many eggs in their lifetime that they're going to be laying. I don't necessarily want them to be laying an egg in the wintertime, because it is so cold out that I often lose eggs to them being frozen. So that's another thing to be thinking about. If you use a white bulb and trick them into thinking that it's daylight hours, they're going to be upping their egg production. Well, then you have to make sure that you can get out here and collect those eggs before they freeze. So that's just my take on it. I'm going to use the heat lamp with the red. Does not confuse their body. Egg production stays low, less freezing of eggs. And really, when spring hits, as their life goes on, they'll be able to lay eggs a little bit longer than the ones who are given white light during the winter. I do know that there are plenty of people out there who give a white light during the wintertime to trick them into thinking that it's daylight hours. That's okay. That's the way that they are choosing to keep chickens. It's just not the way that I'm choosing to. I want you to know that you have choices and that you need to do what works the best for you. With that said, I am feeling like we are ready for winter around here. The lamps are on, well, when it's going to be cold. The heated bases are plugged in and ready to roll. The wall panels are up. The wind can kick in. The chickens will be fine, and we will all certainly be waiting for the warmer spring days. But in the meantime, they're safe. They're living their best days here. And I feel like I have done the best that I can with my chickens. So I hope that your winter projects go as smoothly as they did here when transferring over to the winter months. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time.